The Jets are 0-6, and they have sole ownership of the first overall pick in the 2021 NFL Draft. Right now, there's no other football team that's better at tanking than the New York Jets. Pretty much all the rookie wide receivers continue to ball out, and Ezekiel Elliott loses 2 fumbles in Monday Night Football. He hasn't lost 2 fumbles since he was 4 years old when he was using the spoon to eat cereal. Why did this happen? Well, if we look at his first 4 weeks as his attire, and then we see just recently he started wearing lawn sleeves, maybe that could be it. I don't know, just speculation, also speculation. He'll probably stop wearing lawn sleeves moving forward, right? That's what happened this past week in the league. The rest of the video is dedicated to my fantasy football waiver wire pickups for week 7. What's going on, fantasy football fans? I'm your host, Hussein the Brain, and you're watching The Couch. There are 4 teams on bye this week. With the schedule constantly changing, I just want to remind everyone to be aware of what teams are on bye and to look forward in the schedule for those that like to plan ahead. The 4 teams on bye for week 7 are the Ravens, Colts, Dolphins, and Vikings. Also, Thursday Night Football is the Giants at the Philadelphia Eagles. Just another note. Yes, this is a year where bye weeks and Thursday Night Football and Monday Night Football and Tuesday Night Football are all major news that you have to pay attention to. Anyway, here are the waiver wire pickups for quarterbacks. I rank them and I do it for every single position, including defense and kicker. Sometimes people watch this just for the defense and kicker segment. Okay, for quarterbacks, lots of quality here. Not too much quality at other positions, so be thankful we got quarterbacks in a couple other positions. Matt Ryan, I wouldn't normally have him up here, but about 5 million fantasy owners have dropped him the past couple weeks. So he's only owned in about 81% of ESPN leagues, about 88% of Yahoo leagues, and that's very low. It should be well over 90%. So a lot of people were fed up with his last 3 performances and dropped him. But I think we've all kind of known, hey, let's not start Matt Ryan, or at least we came to the realization, hey, let's not start Matt Ryan without Julio. And then Julio, doesn't have a health designation, an injury designation. He's a full go. I mean, we didn't know much else. We kind of speculated that, no, he's not questionable, he's not doubtful, he's ready to go. And still people were hesitant to start him. Well, Matt Ryan showed us that he can still do it, putting up 3 TDs, over 300 yards. Amazing performance for him. Week 6, week 7, going up against the Lions. Another great matchup. What's even a little bit sweeter here is that it's a home game. Last game was not a home game against the Vikings. This is a home game. Matt Ryan in a dome at home could be lethal. In that same game, we got Matthew Stafford. People weren't really hating Matthew Stafford too much. He's been okay this year. Not great, not quite what fantasy owners who drafted Stafford were hoping for, but he just had a bye week, so he's going to be available in some leagues as well. Of course, if you're in a deep league or a competitive league, Stafford and Ryan are probably both unavailable, but in a league where you only got to start one quarterback, you never know. Check to see if they're there. Teddy Bridgewater, good long-term ad. I'm really only looking at the next week, week 8. They face the Falcons. I love targeting quarterbacks that face the Falcons. Usually targeting every position, like running back that faced the Falcons, but Alexander Madison was a huge bust, huge disappointment this past week. Justin Herbert, A big plus for him is that the Chargers already had their bye week, so you don't have to worry about the schedule or the buys for the Chargers. And Herbert is a low-end QB1. He's been putting up a ton of fantasy points, still has room to grow, and this matchup against the Jaguars is very, very spicy, very good. Keenan Allen was injured, but it seemed to be very, very minor. I fully expect him to be a full go, 100% healthy. Also has got Mike Williams, who looked amazing this past week before their bye week as well. Gardner Minshew, he's okay. Now, I like him as a waiver pickup, but actually I dropped him in one league because it just didn't align with my quarterback, and I'd rather stash a guy like Anthony McFarland. This is the problem that with 1 QB leagues, quarterbacks just, they're not scarce, they're not respected, and I loved Minshew as my QB2, but when I matched it up with Josh Allen, I'm like, I don't want to start Gardner Minshew during Josh Allen's bye week. I didn't want to do that. And so I dropped Minshew, and I don't really regret it. I might go pick up Teddy Bridgewater, who has a better matchup when Josh Allen is on bye. Drew Brees going against the Panthers. Now, Mike Thomas is don't read too much into what Mike Thomas is tweeting and what's going on. Just know this: we're clueless. Okay. This year, and just about every year, but especially this year, is full of surprises. I don't know if Mike Thomas really had a setback. I don't know if Mike Thomas is losing his mind. I don't know if he's going to be ready to play soon. I don't know any of these things, and don't speculate too much. If we see some official reports, some really trustworthy reports, Ian Rappaport, we miss you. Come back. Let us know. When's he coming back? Like in 4 days here, 3 days? Come back, Ian. Let us know what's up with Mike Thomas. Still, though, Drew Brees' matchup against the Panthers is good. Nice, safe quarterback, and he'll just keep getting better once Mike Thomas is back. Carson Wentz, it's not pretty, and he has no floor, and we don't trust this guy. But look at this schedule. He's available on waivers in a lot of leagues and probably won't cost too much to get him. And I may not waste a claim on him or too much FAB, if any at all. But look at this. Giants week, this coming week 7. Then the Cowboys. I mean, those two matchups right there can't get much better than that. At all. Like, those are the sweetest matchups. Then he has a bye, but then plays the Giants again. Then the Browns, who's got some really good players on defense, but they haven't been able to put it together. Their defense is absolute trash. Seahawks defense, not too good as well. And, I mean, wow, that's a very sweet lineup right there. Look at those matchups. Anyways, moving on, Ryan Tannehill, I love him. Well, you can't ask more from a QB2, but this week, bad matchup against the Steelers. He's pretty much a bench for me. And it's not to say that he's going to suck. He might be okay, but in a 1 QB league, why would you start Ryan Tannehill going against the best defense in the league when, you probably have several other options? Ryan Tannehill wasn't even drafted in a lot of 12-team leagues, or he went very, very late. He was a QB like 21 or something is where he was going in 12-team leagues. And then, of course, he faces the Bungles after this week. So Ryan Tannehill should be owned in every league. Joe Burrow. Look at Joe Burrow. I love Joe Burrow. He's great. He has good upside, and he's throwing the ball a ton. Other than maybe the Cardinals, I think the Bengals could have the most pass attempts this year. It was really Falcons, Bengals, and Cardinals. They throw the ball so much, and it's mostly because the Cardinals run up-tempo offense and 4 wide receiver sets and so on and so forth. But anyway, my point is that Joe Burrow, number 9, and then Matt Ryan, who everyone tossed away like garbage last week. Not a huge difference, at least as far as perception goes and who you're starting. Is really not a big difference between 1 through 9 right here on my list. Browns, good matchup. Titans, decent matchup. Week 9, he has a bye, and then he faces the Steelers, or you don't want to start him at all, and that's in Pittsburgh. That sounds scary as heck. Don't start him week 10. So you might in a 1 QB league, you might want to drop them week 9 if you have to. A lot of teams are going to be hitting those bye weeks, week 9, week 10, week 11, I think, around there too. And you might not be able to roster 2 quarterbacks. And Tua is named the starter going forward. Tua throws with his left hand. Ryan Fitzpatrick throws with his right hand almost all the time. And so this bye week won't get just Tua more acclimated and more ready for his first NFL start, but we'll also get his receivers like Mike Gesicki, Devontae Parker, and Preston Williams to be ready to get thrown to by a left-handed guy. Now, actually, it does make a difference, and it's because I've seen Jerry Rice say this, that he had to make a big adjustment from Joe Montana to Steve Young. Not a big difference in those screen passes and very short throws, but when it's a deep throw, the ball lands differently, it spins the other way, and so you got to adjust for that, a 1.5 yards or 3 yards, and when it's coming down and it goes the other way than you're expecting, that's a huge difference, right? Especially for wide receivers running those deep routes, only have a split second to react, put their hands up and catch the ball. Anyway, Tua, you gotta have him in all dual quarterback leagues, in all super flex leagues, and if you're someone who has Dak like we do in Throne, you might have to go put in a claim for Tua. Moving on, that was a long quarterback segment. Don't worry, because running backs and wide receivers, wide receivers, there's a lot of quantity. There's really not any good running backs to add. Just going to be quite frank, there is not. It's a mess, but most of us need at least need some depth at running back, so we should put in a claim for one of these guys. When you add a running back, he's pretty much going to be your RB5, and in my case, I roster 6 running backs almost always, and so it's going to be my RB6, right, or even RB7 in some cases, and so. Yeah, I want a decent RB6 or RB5 or RB7. Why not? Or yeah, like me, I'm still trying to hang on to Anthony McFarland as a stash, because that's how much I like him in case Connor were to go down. Anyway, Miles Sanders is going to be out for 1 to 2 weeks. I'm thinking he'll be back week 8. Definitely not going to be back this week though, as the Eagles play Thursday. J.D. McKissick, not sexy, but he's getting enough snaps, getting enough opportunities. We know that Gibson will never be a workhorse, at least not anytime soon in the future, maybe next year, maybe at the end of the year, depending on certain game scripts and situations. Right now, Peyton Barber's getting a couple carries here and there, and J.D. McKissick and Gibson are splitting the load. Great matchups, by the way, for both Washington running backs. Justin Jackson, I think Kelly is more talented, but Jackson's more comfortable in this offense. He's looked better, and he's earned the playing time. It hurts me to say this because I'm such a huge believer in Joshua Kelly, was one of my sleepers, and everyone was hyped, that I was like, hey, we're getting this guy, Couch Fam, in round 14, round 13. Even later on, he was going round 12, and when people were starting to talk about him more. Still worth having and rostering, but Jackson's probably the better back to start this week. Mark Ingram suffered an injury, is going to probably be minor. Also has an extra week to recover with the Ravens on bye. But I think this is a sign for us to go get J.K. Dobbins. Gus Edwards also worth the add in deep leagues and or non-PPR leagues, because that man does not catch the ball, but he's an incredible runner. Niners, weird situation. Okay, look, I'm just going to say, whatever you do with the Niners backfield in fantasy, you're probably going to get screwed. Okay, you might catch lightning in a bottle one week. It'll be good. There you go. But mostly you'll probably catch poop in a bottle. So you get about 5 weeks of poop, 1 or 2 weeks of lightning, and that's not good. That's a stinky poop. So anyway, JaMycal Hasty looked good, averaged 4.1 yards per carry. Mostert's going to be out several weeks. This is the offense where you want one of these running backs if you can get him for cheap or you get him for free. So why not put in a claim? What's weird is that Jeff Wilson, now this is not a sexy topic, but I was thinking he would be the next man up, but he was inactive with what they called a calf injury that we didn't know about throughout the week. So to be honest, I don't quite know what's going on. Might have to do more research, and not sure if that information is really out there. Pretty messy backfield. Still might be worth having a piece of this backfield, though, because the Niners, they use the running back a lot and they use it well. Shanahan's a good coach. I like the blocking for the 49ers on offense. Frank Gore, starting running back. That's it. We know Adam Gase likes to run up the gut, and his floor is about 7 fantasy points, and then his ceiling is about 13 fantasy points, right? 7 plus 6. So he'll get you 7 fantasy points every game, and then every now and then Frank Gore might score a touchdown, and it's not going to be often, and then he'll give you 13 points. So not good. I need a guy with a little bit more upside in my life. And then LaMichael Pirine, he's interesting because he's there too. It's the Jets. Adrian Peterson, about 50-50 split with Swift, who went off this past week. But still, we know that AP's getting some carries. He looked good in the beginning of the season. I don't think Swift will get anywhere like 70 to 90% of the snaps and carries. Nothing like that. I think AP against the Falcons is decent. A little bit better in non-PPR leagues as well. Carry on. That's what I want to say. Carry on is not carrying the workload anymore. He's definitely the third wheel in this running back by committee. Also, Jeff Wilson in deep leagues, I might add him because, like I said, we don't know what the Niners are going to do. We don't know. I'm pretty confident that Mostert would be the man if he was healthy. Not healthy this year. Tevin Coleman's not been healthy. So I don't know if how healthy Jeff Wilson is, if he's going to be out, or maybe he might lap Hasty. Maybe Hasty passed up Jeff Wilson. I don't know. We won't know, but maybe worth an add in deeper leagues. Zach Moss, he's terrible, but he's facing the Jets. For wide receivers, T. Higgins, it's kind of crazy that he's not owned in more leagues, only owned in about 50% of leagues. That's just disrespectful. He's passing up AJ Green. AJ Green still trying to hold on. I guess AJ Green's still kind of worth a roster spot. But he's the type of guy that kills your fantasy team because he's taking up space on your bench. The 1 or 2 games he'll have that are good, he'll be on your bench. And it's like, you missed up on picking Mike Davis or Justin Herbert or, a stud tight end. Anyway, there actually is a lot of good wide receivers. Mike Williams, definitely worth an add if you have the bench space. Cole Beasley is probably my favorite wide receiver right now as far as being a sleeper, as far as being a waiver gem, because of the floor. Now, I like more upside with wide receivers, but when this guy's giving you 11 fantasy points as your floor, even getting in the end zone here and there, that's hard to pass up, and that's pretty good for 12-team PPR leagues where you really need a flex star, or now that we have bye weeks, he's definitely startable. I like Cole Beasley, man, and he's just so underrated. And I think you can get, I may not even want to waste a claim on him. I think you can get him for $0 FAB. You can get him as a free agent. Super easy, no-brainer ad for me. When Chark is in the lineup, the Jaguars look so much better, especially the passing game. It opens up a lot more. And look at Keelan Cole, man. 9 targets, 6 receptions, all huge plays, 143 receiving yards. I like Cole. Christian Kirk, I think he's getting better and better and better this past couple weeks. I was really liking him, really intrigued by him. So make sure to check if he's on waivers. Travis Fulgham, the reason I don't have him number one is because Deshaun Jackson's expected to come back. Dallas Goedert might be coming back soon. And Alshon Jeffrey, I don't know what the heck's going on with him. So it's just too many question marks. I don't know who they're going to throw to. I don't know if Travis Fulgham has fully earned a starting spot. Also, Jalen Reagor's going to be back in a few weeks. So that's why I got him here. Eagles, you never know. Other than Miles Sanders, like, you really never know what they're going to do. Tim Patrick, pretty good receiver for the Broncos with Cortland Sutton on IR. And then we got MVS, not a trustworthy wide receiver. I don't like him as a wide receiver, but he has good speed. He can make deep plays. And look at this matchup. Like, he could do it against the Texans, especially when defenses are focused on Adams and stopping Aaron Jones. This is a beautiful matchup. And then another good matchup at home against the Vikings after this week. Demarcus Robinson is the number 3 wide receiver for the Chiefs, or maybe even number 2. He's the man right now with Sammy Watkins out, other than, first is Tyreek Hill, then Kelsey. Then it could be Demarcus Robinson. Corey Davis coming back, and Randall Cobb's been doing some things. Now we're getting super deep league territory. Adam Humphries, Russell Gage, Preston Williams. I like this in deeper leagues. Keep in mind he is on bye this week. He could be back, folks. Just took him a little bit time to adjust coming back from that ACL. Damiere Byrd, the number 1 wide receiver for the Patriots now. What's going on with Edelman? What happened to Nikhil? Cedric Wilson, for some reasons, involved heavily in the offense. He doesn't drop balls like Gallup. And then Darnell Mooney of the Bears. Now, he's actually looked good and they go to him, but the Bears spread the ball a lot, and Nick Foles isn't really lighting it up. And so that's why I have him ranked so low. For tight ends, Dallas Goedert, I don't think I put him on this list last week, and that's my fault. I'm going to apologize for that. The reason why I didn't put him on is just I thought it was dumb and nobody would drop him. But when I looked at my leagues, I noticed that even in my 12-team leagues, he was on waivers and free agency in some of them. And those leagues have IR spots too. So this was just insane. Like, I didn't know, why would you drop Dallas Goedert? Like, have you not seen Zach Ertz suck? And now that Zach Ertz is hurt, it's like, oh, wow, I really regret dropping Goedert. Anyways, add him. He'll be back soon. Not sure if he's coming back this week. He might be back week 8. He's gonna be back real soon, though. And there's a shot he'll be back week 7. So add him right now. Add him even if you got a tight end, because tight ends are so scarce. They're so messy. So many of them are banged up right now, and so many of them are up and down. They're so tough to predict. What's so crazy this year, I've been pretty good predicting kickers. I'd say very good. I've been okay at predicting defenses. I mean, sometimes when I'm very confident in the stream, when they face the Jets, basically I've been 100%. So I've been really good when they face the Jets. So defenses are tough to predict when I'm predicting like 10 of them or 30 of them. But tight ends, oh my God. Like, I know sometimes when all the stars align that they're just going to put up a dud like Gesicki did last week. It happens. And I'm aware of that. Tight ends are impossible to predict other than Kelsey. Like, he's the best. Anyway, add Dallas Goedert, Austin Hooper. Like, we've already taken a step down. Like, after Goddard, it's like, all right. But the rest of these guys are tight end 2s and you're just hoping for. But Austin Hooper definitely more acclimated with that offense. He's getting better. He's getting quality targets, and so he's a really good high-end tight end too. Jimmy Graham averaging 6 targets per game, baby. He is back. That's incredible for a tight end. Also, they're quality targets. He's getting some targets at the goal line, at the red zone, so definitely needs to be owned in a lot of leagues. And then we got Gronkowski. We saw Tyler Hudson, I believe, kind of phased out this past week, so they didn't use Brait too much, and they really used Gronkowski. So that's really why I have confidence in Gronk, because that fourth string tight end, Tyler, if you count OJ Howard, Tyler Hudson, didn't see any targets. Then we have Greg Olsen, Eric Ebron, who I hate, but this week against the Titans, I have a good feeling that's a good matchup. He could do some things. I'd consider him more of a one week rental if your tight end's on bye or something like that. And then after that, he's definitely a tight end too. I never really want to start Ebron. Logan Thompson going against the Cowboys. Irv Smith getting some more work, but he's on bye. Trey Burton, amazing tight end. But let's see what happens after Mo Ali Cox comes back. Keep in mind, both the Vikings and Colts are on bye this week. Darren Fells, if Jordan Akins is still injured. And then Richard Rodgers, who is a tight end, a healthy tight end on the Eagles, which is a big plus. And then we have Anthony Firkser if Jonnu Smith is out. Now, I believe Jonnu Smith will play this week. But there is a chance he won't. Jonnu's injury is very minor. I just want to keep that in mind. And if he does miss week 7 against the Steelers, pretty confident he'll be back right after that. For defenses, I think the best cutoff is around 4 or 5. Now these so the top 2 options are fairly elite. And then after around 4 or 5, it gets pretty messy here. So the Bills D going against the Jets, if they can get even healthier, I think this is the game where they just dominate and they go ham. I think they're really pissed. They're looking to get a win right here, and they're not going to lay off the pedal. They're going to go all out. I don't care if the Jets are tanking. They're going to whoop on them. Then the Eagles going against the Giants Thursday night. There's just a lot of opportunities for them to put up points. Now, the Chiefs D is definitely worth rostering, even as a backup defense. And I'm just, when I say backup defense, I mean a stream ahead of time. And if you have another defense that you don't really have much faith in, like, I don't know, maybe you got the Giants D, or I don't know who you would have from last week. Rams D, I don't know. But if you have a defense that you think is about even with the Chiefs week 7, you might want to drop them. Get the Chiefs. Start them this week against the Broncos, which is an okay move. It's not a trustworthy move, but like I said, it's hard to predict defenses anyway. Sometimes you just start one. And it's not a bad, you can do much worse than Chiefs versus Broncos. But then you got them for the week after, going against the Jets in a home game. And that's an automatic start right there. Chiefs, Jets, week 8. Anyway, Chargers going against the Jaguars. That's okay. Browns going against the Bengals. Then we have Washington, Niners, Packers, Bucks, Giants in that same Thursday night game. Cowboys D, we can really trust them. God-awful defense. Saints D going against the Panthers. Bears D, I think they're good. I think they're a really good, solid bunch, and I don't think the matchup matters too much. I think they can still put up points regardless. And then the Dolphins, this will not apply to 95% of you. Okay, so 95% of you watching this video or listening, don't add the Dolphins D, okay? But for those 5% who are in deep leagues with deep benches, you guys just might be able to afford having 2 defenses, or sometimes in my dynasty league where everyone's injured, I have a bunch of IR spots and taxi spots, I have 3 defenses. There's no one else to add really. So in those rare circumstances, you want to try to stash the Dolphins D. Again, I'm saying 95% of you don't stash the Dolphins D. They're on bye this week, but weeks 11 through 13, this is their schedule. At Broncos, at New York Jets, then the Bengals. Amazing. And let's see what this Dolphins team can do with the change of quarterback. They have some good players. They play hard. I'm very excited to see what's going to happen with this team. For kickers, my cutoff is going to be, I'd like Jake Elliott. He's a little bit, we'll go through it, but there's a lot of quality ones. The Saints had a bye week, so Will Lutz may be available out there. I would pretty much never put in a claim for a kicker and waste my claim on them and waste my waiver priority. I would also not spend any more than $0 on a kicker. Even if your minimum is $1, I'm not spending $1 FAB on a kicker. This is why we do these videos. This is why we have kickers, so we can find those sleepers. And I've been hitting on them and we've been winning. So it's pretty dang good. Not worth putting in a claim. Let someone else waste their number one waiver priority on Will Lutz. That's fine. Let someone else roster 2 kickers and waste, and us to go pick up a player off free agency, like a Justin Herbert or Carson Wentz, or even, a defense like the Chiefs or the Bills that's playing against the Jets. Let us do that while they roster 2 kickers for no reason. Anyway, Will Lutz, number 1 kicker. Michael Badgley, amazing matchup against the Jaguars. Badgley's a pretty good kicker as well. Tyler Bass is about to have his best game against the Jets. Watch and see. And then Matt Prater going against the Falcons. Amazing. Younghoe Koo right behind Matt Prater. Like, they're almost tied. There's going to be a lot of opportunities for both those teams kicking in a dome. And then Mason Crosby is okay. Jake Elliott, very nice matchup. Not too trustworthy. Hard to predict this Eagles team is. But he has a lot of upside this game. And then in deeper leagues, we have Ryan Suckup, Chris Boswell, Cody Parkey, Robbie Gould, Joey Sly. Joey Sly, I believe, is like this, and Kaimi Fairbairn and Nick Folk. Make sure you guys are subscribed to this YouTube channel. We also have a second YouTube channel called Fantasy Couch Podcast. Check that out. It's all right here. Subscribe to that one as well. I read every single comment and answer every comment. So leave a comment below if you have a fantasy football question. Smash this with a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Thumbs down if you didn't. Good luck this week, everybody.